one of the things that makes farmers in turn livid is not that they are misunderstood, but that their stock and their lifestyles are being routinely attacked by others, and sometimes literally. Cue Bill Malcolm, and I'll bring Bill in now. Bill, welcome to the show. Thank you very much. Michael Laws here. Nice to have you to join us.
Thank you very much, Michael.
Now, Bill is, just let me explain to listeners, Bill is a North Otago farmer. What do you farm, Bill? Are you a sheep and beef?
Yeah, mainly sheep, but beef. But about 80% sheep, 20% beef.
All right. And last year it would have been,
Yes.
Last October, you went out onto your farm and you discovered what you've described as a hellish and very traumatic scene. Tell us what that scene was, please.
Right. Well, I'll explain the situation. I went down to the neighbour's place for dinner at 6 p.m, went past the paddock, and everything was hunky-dory, just like any other paddock, any other day.
Yep.
Came back after having dinner there and feeding the pet lambs at the wool shed, and a quarter of an hour beforehand I heard dogs barking, but never thought much of it because we've never had a dog attack me before. Drove past that same paddock at 8:30, and there was just sheep and lambs everywhere in the corners, but all completely mismothered. There's some lambs with blood running down their front legs, and I saw a couple of dead ones, and then I saw another one which sat down close to the fence, and then when it saw me, it sort of got up, and its back leg was completely detached in terms of the bone, like it was just like a kid's spinning wheel type arrangement. It was getting near dark, so I went for a walk in the paddock, and then I saw two dogs sitting down at the bottom end of the paddock, down at the bottom of a hill, with a couple of dead lambs beside them, sitting down there. And when I drove up to them, because I've had them on the farm before, I've had the council out to grab them before, they just looked really happy. They just had a big game of chase, and were just resting. And so I first, rather than go away, get a gun, and they might disappear, I thought, right, I'd put them in the back of the truck. I did that before when I found them on the farm, took them up to the house, put them in a secure kennel, and rang the council. And the dog control people came out. Now, because they came out, that process was getting dark, I couldn't go back into the paddock during dark. I just had to leave it because that's the only way that they'd remother. And so basically, about 1 hour sleep that night.
Bill, what kind of dogs were they?
One was a short-haired German pointer.
Yeah.
And one was a short-haired collie, basically, like a farm dog, but looks like a farm dog.
And when you say you'd caught them before, are you saying that they are dogs on a property that neighboured yours?
Yeah. The people rent a house on a farm, and these would have wandered probably at least probably about 2 kilometres to get to where the killing ground was, basically, the killing field.
Right. So they are farmers themselves, or they just simply rent a house?
Just rent a house on a farm.
Right, and they work presumably in town somewhere?
Yes, I presume so, yep.
Yeah, okay. So you've taken them back before. The previous time, did you say to them, your dogs were on my property?
No.
No?
I'll correct you, Michael.
Yeah.
I couldn't take them back because they've got no registration on them. One had no collar and the other one had no registration.
So both the dogs were unregistered?
Well, they didn't have any registration tags on them.
Oh, okay. So you didn't know who to take them to?
That's right. Right. So I rang the council the first time. They knew who the dogs were. The dogs have had... I'm not supposed to tell you, but I'm going to now. The dogs have been in trouble before. So they're known. Let's just say they were known, okay? They're known offenders. And
what, for straying or for taking stock? They've been attacking other livestock, yes. So let me get this right. So let me get this absolutely crystal clear. Because I'm agog already, because as you're probably aware, I used to be a mayor and we had a real dog problem and we didn't, because you just needed to do a couple of things and suddenly, bang, you don't have one.
Yep.
But you're saying to me, that these dogs have escaped before. They've been caught worrying sheep, if not attacking them anyhow.
It wasn't sheep, but it wasn't sheep.
Oh, it was other stock. Yep.
It was other stock. Yep.
Right.
But yes.
And you've taken them back. So this is and then on a third occasion, so first of all they've transgressed before. We don't know how many times they've transgressed before. Then they've transgressed with you. They're on your stock, and they seem to be, looking lively.
They were wandering.
Yep.
They were wandering, but they weren't causing any problems at that stage. They were just wandering.
And then the third time, you find them after they have decimated a herd of your sheep. How many sheep were killed in the end?
I think 17 lambs, because
bloody hell.
We found some more a couple of days later in a different paddock that we didn't realise was attacking, and then we found some more savage at tailing time with hunks missing out of their rear end, and we found a ewe as well. It wasn't all just seen that morning.
Okay. Can you explain something to me, please? Because I don't get dog behaviour. Somebody will be able to tell me who's listening to this. Why do dogs attack and kill sheep? I don't get that bit.
Oh, it's simple. Normally it's boredom, and two, there's a pack mentality. Normally it's never one by themselves.
Right.
They egg each other on. There becomes a pack mentality. It starts off as a game, and no one's telling them not to do it, so they just carry on doing it. Right,
okay. Right, so the Waitaki District Council are responsible for enacting the Dog Control Act of 1996. You say to them, well, what's going to happen here? They investigate. What do they do to the two dogs, first of all?
Right, let's go back a step.
Okay.
I was dealing with the animal control people. They're fantastic, right?
Yep.
They came out the following morning when the vet came, so we had to decide what to do with these other lambs, and all but one had to get put down. They got a statement from me, right? They told me the process. Basically, it gets handed over to the regulatory section of the Waitaki District Joke Factory, okay?
So I think you're referring to the Waitaki District Council.
Yep. So it gets handed over to the regulatory section. So they take it from there in terms of deciding whether to prosecute and enact the prosecution, and responsible for ensuring that the process is carried out.
Yeah, okay.
They asked me for a compensation in terms of what it cost, how many lambs I lost, and how do I value them, the time I spent, the cost of the vets, all that sort of stuff. And they also rang back to clarify, and I said, look, went past 6 o'clock, came back at 8:30, found the dogs in the paddock, blood on them, dead lambs around them, open and closed case.
You'd think.
And the owners were identified. The owners agreed to have the dogs put down. I wouldn't have thought you could get even the Pink Panther could have solved this one.
Yeah.
It was open and closed. There was nothing to do. No investigation required. All the evidence was there. Photographs, the whole 9 yards. So
the money involved, you've estimated the value of these lambs at roughly 2,500, I think. Is that right?
Yeah, I think it was 2,700 or something like that.
Yeah, okay. Did the owners of the dogs offer to compensate you for their stock that you'd lost?
No, they left a message the following morning saying they'd lost their dogs in the door. And you got to understand, I had a bit of brain fog the following morning because I had about 1 hour's sleep. And actually I saw, because the neighbour was driving around with the person who owned the dogs, looking for their dogs. And I just said, no, I haven't seen them, but I just had a dog attack. And I was just not with it because I was tired and didn't make the connection. But they'd left their phone number there, but I wasn't in a state of mind to talk to them. And I thought, just let the council organise it. They will sort it all out. The legal process will sort the whole process out.
And to cut to the chase, what happened was that the people weren't prosecuted. There was no case that was taken to the court, and presumably there was no order for compensation which would seemingly accompany such an attack, yeah?
Correct.
Right. How long, so that was last October, we're now into, what's the 2nd of May today. How long, what explanation were you given by the council as to why they wouldn't lodge it?
So just inform me that they haven't and they've missed out, but no reason has been given. Okay, look, the manager of the regulatory section is essentially, in my eyes, responsible for making sure processes are carried out. In this case, a very simple process was not carried out. So therefore, the manager, the buck stops with him. If he can show that one of his staff, one of his underlings, was responsible, then different, that changes. But that's what I know.
So as I understand, there's going to be no prosecution at all.
Correct.
And no order for compensation, because the council has run out of time to be able to lodge that action in front of the district court. Is that correct?
As far as I'm aware, that is precisely what's happened, Michael.
I didn't realise that there was a statutory time under which
I didn't know either. I just left it in the hands of the council. Thought, right, these fellas are paid. The manager's paid big money to make sure all this happens. So that's what I would have thought.
Okay. So the options you've got now are nothing. So you're out of compensation. The dogs are gone.
Okay.
Well, I suppose that's all right. But
small claims court, possibly. Small claims court.
Oh, yes, but seriously, then it's a process, and you got to pay $55 or $65, and they're unenforceable, the small claims tribunal. So if you want to enforce it, you've actually got to go to the district court to enforce the small claims tribunal hearing.
That's right. Yep.
So it's a waste of time, basically. Okay. It seems obvious to me what should happen. But can I just put something to you? Yep. I had the same problem when I was mayor, and I was trying to work out, I had a farmer come to me. It's almost, God, when I read the story about you, I went, it was like deja vu.
Yep.
And what I discovered was that the council didn't want to prosecute, and don't in New Zealand. It's a de facto default position they take. You know why?
No.
Because it costs them money.
Yeah, although there was one up in Nelson, Michael. I do know
you'll get the occasional one. But and it very much depends upon the attitude of the mayor and of the council chief or leadership. But if, as a general rule, I can remember going to the prosecutor and saying, as mayor, why aren't you prosecuting these three people? Because in this particular case, they destroyed a cat, attacked a small child, and also destroyed stock. And the answer was because it will cost us thousands of dollars to prosecute this case, and we won't get our money back.
Oh, yep.
And I'm wondering if the Waitaki District Council doesn't have that as their default position as well. Well,
I'm not the person, obviously, to ask.
No, fair enough.
That question. Yeah, so I couldn't possibly comment.
Okay. I guess a lot of people also would be listening to this and going, you should have shot the dogs straight away, but it still doesn't compensate you for your time, the loss of your stock or anything like that, does it?
No, I mean, the dogs got put down, and I looked at it and thought, if I had to go away and get the gun, because it takes time. You've got to go unlock your gun cabinet, you've got to then exchange it. So that whole process takes time. It was getting near dark, and if the dogs leave, I'm left high and dry. So because I was there with the farm truck, I could just put them in the back, boom, take them up to the house, lock them in a secure kennel and run. Job done.
Right. The decision, though, of the Waitaki District Council not to employ the powers that it has under the Dog Control Act, we've speculated between you and I why one of those reasons might be. Another reason, as you quite rightly point out, could be just simply incompetence. Who do you think owes you the money now? Is it the council?
Right.
Is it the owners of the dogs?
No. But here's what I think, right? The council should give me the compensation.
Yeah.
Right? When they find the idiot who has decided not to or stopped the prosecution, it comes out of their back pocket, okay? And they need an investigation, and someone needs to be named and shamed. They offer to pay it out of their back pocket, and a bit like a Shylock, a pound of flesh, not an ounce more, not an ounce less.
So in essence, what it's a novel concept. What you're suggesting is that when council officers make mistakes, they should pay for them. I quite like that idea, but there probably wouldn't be many council staff left at the end of the week.
No, Michael, it's not a mistake. It's not a mistake, right? It's incompetence. There's a difference. We all make mistakes. I don't have a problem with mistakes, but it's just incompetence. You've got a job to do. The job wasn't done, and there's no reason.
Have you rung up the mayor and complained to Mr. What's his name? Kershaw, Gary Kershaw? Yeah.
Gary. Yeah, no, I know Gary. Look, nice fella. He probably doesn't know what's been going on. Okay, you know what it's like. The board of governors, in terms of the board of directors in the company, are similar to the councillors. They don't get told unless people want them to know something.
Mate, when it's on the front page of the newspaper or it's on the platform, you're pretty sure that it's suddenly become something that the mayor wants to know about, don't you think?
That's right, exactly. And that's why I thought, no, as soon as I found out, I got told this, I was on the phone to Sally Ray, the Otago Daily, and Omri Mail, and just said, Sally, you're not going to believe this.
No, neither can I. I understand the official response from the Waitaki District Council is that, quote unquote, that they are looking at all options that remain available to them to seek the reparation for your loss.
Now, were you talking to Fozzie Bear or Kermit the Frog?
So, as far as you're concerned, that's just a lie.
Look, that's just, that's a PR spin. There's nothing specific there.
Yeah.
No one's mentioned any statute, any clause of any statute, anything like that, right? That is just bullshit, okay? Just to give an answer to placate whoever is asking the question, the reporter or in the press statement.
Bill, thank you very much for coming on the show and explaining that. For reasons that I'm about to explain, there's a reason why we had you on the show this morning. I will follow the case, okay, and stay in touch.
Yep.
All right?
Yep, that'd be great.
Good on you, mate.
Thank you very much, Michael.
Nice to talk to you, Bill. Okay.